So today, of course, we learned that Amazon dropped its First Amendment right case after the defendant in the murder case agreed to hand over the data that was contained on his Amazon Echo. Amazon has filed a motion against the search warrant for the voice interactions with Alexa, claiming that they were considered protected speech. Now that the defendant himself is given access to the interactions, Amazon has abandoned its case for now. But as we race to make our houses smarter, the problem itself is not going away. We just spent a lot of time talking about the WikiLeaks story. Those leaked documents describe techniques developed specifically for embedded systems, which the documents dumbed down to describe as the things in the Internet of Things. Here to talk to us about the wonderfully complicated smarter home life is Joe Dugandzic from the website Smarter Home Life. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thanks, Megan. It's great to be here.
Well, okay. So what is your advice that you give people who want a smarter home, but they're concerned with the amount of information these devices know and can reveal about us?
Well, just like you guys were talking about, what I advise usually is you have to give a little bit of thought to what you're bringing into your home to make it smarter. If you're just sticking with the basics of just control and you're not going with an Amazon Echo or a Google Home or any of these listening type devices, I think you don't have to worry as much. But anything, as some people would say, of course, anything that's connected to the internet is at risk on some level for someone potentially spying on you, just like you guys were literally just talking about with the CIA.
So I know you write a bunch of great pieces about how we can smarten up our homes, and you were a big proponent of smart locks, but you've recently gone back to the dumb lock. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, and actually, I didn't completely go away from it. It was perhaps slightly misleading, but in the article I talk about that I was moving to going to be starting to review a new smart lock. So I practiced something that I normally do when I move completely from like one home to another, which is I live without the automation for a certain amount of time, and I was having some. As I've also said with these smart locks, if you have a door and a deadbolt that doesn't turn smoothly, kind of very, very easily, the smart lock of any type is not going to help you out there. So, anyways, I went for about 6 to 8 weeks, and I had taken the August smart lock off the door and just lived without the automation. Keys being required, no ability to think about, I actually had to think about, did I lock the front door? Because I was just used to just closing the door behind me and just leaving because the technology had become so good. So that was actually a great way of going between devices. And now I'm actually testing and will be reviewing soon the new Quickset Premise smart lock, which is HomeKit enabled. And that'll be out in a couple weeks. So not exactly completely abandoning smart locks, but at least for 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, well, you'll have to tell me which one to get. That's the other thing. I am moving into a new home, and so I'm sort of selfishly had you on here because I have all kinds of questions. But maybe other people will take advantage of the answers as well. But it's so expensive. There's, just in considering like hue lights or, just all the lights that we have in our house and making them all smart, that each bulb is really expensive. But you recently reviewed the Cube, which is a cheaper option. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. They just started shipping. This was a crowdfunded product. It was at CES. They just, what you have on the screen, they just also launched a campaign for their smart strip. And I have it here. I just got it in the mail a couple days ago, and I'll just slide it across. There it is. Anyways, this is the Cube smart bulb. The first, many people have emailed me, and like you said, Megan, these are expensive devices, normally going for $45 to $60 per bulb. This is the first Wi-Fi color changing. It has all of the features of, say, a Philips Hue or a LifeX, but it is less than $30, running at $29 now on their website. And their smart light strip is going to be about the same price when it is supposed to ship this summer. They don't have any integrations set up yet, but those are coming soon in terms of IFTTT, the Amazon Echo, and likely, obviously, the Google Home. It's not HomeKit enabled because, of course, with HomeKit products, there's a certain amount of specific hardware that has to be put in. So probably for their Gen 1 product, they skipped that. But it runs with, works with Android and soon with iOS. And they've got an app that lets you obviously set some scenes, do some proximity, so the lights will turn on automatically, sensing your Bluetooth presence, scheduling, all the different things that you can expect. And my initial testing is good. I'll probably be putting out a quick review very, very soon on the bulb and a full review later. But it's exciting that someone has kind of taken up the gauntlet and said, we're going to make this more affordable for people.
Over the holiday there's just this last year, I finally invested in a Hue light bulb setup. So I've got the Hue bridge, and then I've got 3 light bulbs at home. And I mean, I've completely fallen head over heels with the system. We've just had so much fun with it. But what I realized in that, and maybe this is, kind of what takes smart home and brings it a little bit more mainstream, is that it's more expensive up front. Let's say a bulb is $35 to $50 or whatever. But Hue specifically, they tout that these bulbs are going to last 5-6 years long. I mean, some of that cost is kind of taken out of the equation, or at least reduced when you consider the lifespan of that and not having to replace it all the time. I imagine that'll probably apply to other smart home devices over time as everything in the category kind of drops in price, at least, as more people adopt it. Do you think?
It should. And in fact, I asked that question of a few of the vendors, specifically Philips Hue, most of which they didn't really want to comment. The reason for some of the products being so expensive is we're still at the very, very beginning of the market, even though some would say home automation has been around for a long time, since several decades, but it was really a very specialty or a very nerdy kind of thing. Now anyone can walk down to their Best Buy or purchase some items on Amazon, and you're ready to go. The products, like you said, over a number of year lifespan. I mean, traditional or typical LED, not smart LED bulbs, are supposed to last 20 plus years, and these smart bulbs are supposed to last at least, like you said, 7, 8, 10 plus years. So that cost is split up over time. And the other thing to think about is you're getting all of the support. You're getting all the firmware updates. You're getting new features after these bulbs launch. So you could buy one, even say the new Cube smart bulb at $30, hold on to it for 5, 6, 7 years, and you're going to get a lifetime of product updates, new features, and cool stuff, for that original price.
I have a home assistance question. Jason and I recently switched our phones. He took my iPhone and I took his Pixel phone for a month. And we were thinking that the next chapter of this is obviously that I take his Google Home and he takes my Amazon Echoes. Because
I just can't stop trading things.
Just like you guys did the iOS and the Android swap, which I thought was awesome.
So I'm assuming you've tried both. Who's going to win this one? Say me.
And I hold both of them up. I have both of these devices. A lot of times I keep them turned off, or I keep them, they've got the mute buttons for privacy. And there's been some studies on that they are actually muting. Well, we assume, we don't know anything anymore, I guess, as of today. I think, and a lot of people have said this, and I will agree with it, Google has that treasure trove of data. They really know the world, in addition to having really great audio recognition. My own experience is that it seems that most of the time Google Home is just better at recognizing what I want it to do. Where what's her name? I won't wake everyone's device up. Just can't quite get it together, or she just always says, "Can you restate that? Can you say it some other way?" I'm like, "No, I need you to understand how I speak." And honestly, it's been 2+ years since the Amazon Echo originally launched, and Amazon, it's time to play. Time to get this stuff right.
With that.
Yep. Okay, so 3 gadgets, 3 of your favorite smart home gadgets. What are they?
3 gadgets, I would say categories, but then I'll be dodging the question. Lighting control, obviously, Philips Hue and LifeX are wonderful. It's the easiest way to get into the smart home. And both of those products, both of those product lines are just wonderful. They integrate with so many different systems. And LifeX is about to integrate also with HomeKit for their new products. For smart locks and security, I have to say That would be in addition to, say, a smart thermostat like the Nest or an Ecobee. The August smart lock is just, it's compatible with so many things. You don't have to rekey your lock. You don't have to think about that or do so much work like taking your old lock apart and replacing it. I think it's an excellent product. I had used it for 2 years solid, and it got better over time. I've had a Nest thermostat. It's an excellent product. I also am going to be soon testing the Ecobee 3, which also has the ability for having remote sensors around your home to kind of balance your HVAC system and possibly save you some more energy. I think those are the three products, but those are, to me, the three top categories still in the smarter home, as I call it.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed since getting the Hue, and then I also have the Google Home at home and getting them to kind of speak the same language and everything, is realizing that I already have what I need to kind of build out from there. And just the fact that IoT is really componentized. So you only need like $30 here, $40 there to add this great new feature to your home. So it's almost like once you open the floodgates and you realize that fact, then it kind of becomes addictive. You kind of realize how much further you can build it out. And it really doesn't cost that much if you're spending $30 or $40 here and there to grow it. So that's one way of bringing this kind of mainstream. But then we have, as we've talked about many times in this episode, all of these kind of surveillance, privacy, issues that keep bubbling up around devices like this. Do you think stories like that are going to prevent smart home from becoming more mainstream? I mean, are we kind of getting to the point where people are going to be afraid to make their homes smarter?
I think, number one, it's a trust issue. I think some people probably have thought for the longest time that, these agencies, the CIA or FBI or hackers, they automatically have the ability to get into these devices anyways. So if all of these documents prove to be true, then maybe people are going to be afraid. I think time will tell, but it's going to be a trust thing that this is going to be on the manufacturer's side as well, trying to reassure customers after stories like this come out, because they're going to get the emails. I'm going to get the emails. Should I have these devices in my home? And maybe it won't. I would love to have a crystal ball and say yes or no in the next 6 months. But obviously, at this point, I'm going to defer that a little while.
And of course, as we talked about yesterday, Consumer Reports just came out they just announced that they're going to be trying to test all of their products. That's going to be part of their rating, just based on privacy and security. So I have hope for us. I don't feel like we're all playing the violin on the deck of the Titanic.
I don't know how to play the violin. So
yeah, exactly. Because I do think that there's room for these devices to protect our privacy and also let us lay in bed and turn things off and on without getting up, which is everyone's dream, right?
Totally.
It really is. In the land that we all imagined all this stuff from, like Star Trek and sci-fi, in those movies and TV series, if you remember, anyone could be found at any time from the big computer database, and so it really. But in those worlds, somehow there was a trust that, well, if you weren't doing anything wrong, or if they were just you're just doing your job, you weren't in trouble. But as soon as you were in trouble, somehow you were instantly located. So it's a trust issue. I think that's where the smarter home is going to have to move into.
Well, Joe Dugandzic, thank you so much for joining us. Joe is at smarterhomelife.com, and he's on Twitter at smarterhomelife. So smarter, but you're always smarter than your smart home, right?
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Megan and Jason.
Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on. Have
Take care.